Hey photographer, Jessica Whitaker here. I am going to walk you through my lens collection and share the best camera lenses for beginner photographers, where you should splurge and where you should save or skip altogether. Let's talk about where I think you should spend, and that is on a great prime lens. So I love the 50mm and I love the 85mm. These two lenses are fantastic for portrait photography, but they serve different purposes and can create a very different effect. I would say if you are starting from scratch and you're wanting to get into portrait photography, go with a 50mm. This is also known as the Nifty 50. Well, actually not this one. So there's three different tiers to a 50mm with three different price points. The cheapest being the 50mm 1.8, and that's the Nifty 50. Then the middle tier is this, the 50mm 1.4. And then the lens that I'm filming on right now is the 50mm 1.2, coming at the most expensive. You're looking at about $1,500 if you bought it new. However, there is a hack for buying camera equipment much cheaper. It's called KEH Camera, and they are kindly sponsoring this video. KEH is where you can buy, sell, trade in, and repair your used camera equipment, both film and digital. And that's actually where I have purchased my most recent lens, the 85mm 1.2. So on KEH, they quality inspect every single piece of equipment that comes through their warehouse. You are not gonna have that happening with a third-party auction site or a social media marketplace. And then it's transparently rated on a quality scale that you can see on their website. It goes all the way to Excellent Plus, which is essentially new, all the way down to Bargain, which is the tier that I bought for this 85mm. And Bargain is my favorite hack because there are going to be some cosmetic scratches on the outside of the lens. This one actually has a ding on the ring, but it doesn't affect the actual picture quality, the glass. It's simply cosmetic from normal wear and tear, but because of that, you can get several $100s off. If you're interested in KEH or want to bookmark it for later because it's an amazing resource, you can click the link down in the description box below, and I also have a coupon code for you for 5% off and a selling bonus. If you are interested in selling any camera equipment that is collecting dust on your bookshelf or taking up room in your camera bag, maybe you're looking to sell your kit lens, you can upgrade to something like a 50mm. I'll have KEH Camera linked down below. Like I mentioned, a 50mm is a very popular focal length for a first lens, and it's definitely something that you want to splurge on, especially if you shoot in low light situations. I would recommend splurging on the 1.4 or the 1.2 if you can swing it, and I would actually skip that 1.8. Now, the reason why the 50mm is popular for portrait photography, it is a great standard portrait focal length where you could have more than one person in the frame without compromising on the background. The background can still be incorporated. You can still get that beautiful environment without having to leave too much of it out. So it's great for engagement photos or for family photos or for one person in the frame. It's also going to be great if you are doing product photography and you have wiggle room where the working distance isn't really a factor. And I talk more about working distance in that other video, but that's essentially what is the distance between the camera and the lens and the subject you are photographing. Simple, it's beautiful, and it's definitely one to splurge on, but you don't have to go out and buy it new. You can still save hundreds of dollars by buying used on KEH. My next splurge would be an 85mm. I have a 1.2. Like the 50mm, there's also 1.4 and 1.8. This is the one addition to my camera bag in the last 4 years. And after borrowing it off and on and using it from KEH for videos, I finally was able to buy one for myself, and I got the bargain version for about $800. The 85mm is going to create more separation with the subject in the background of your image, unlike a 50mm, and that is because of the focal length. So if you are looking to have portraits that are very creamy, look almost like a painting, you really want your subject to be isolated from the background, then the 85mm is going to be able to create that effect way more than a 50mm can. In fact, I'll throw up an example here on the screen, but I have a dedicated video where I compare the two in real life, and you can see even more examples. However, you are going to be much more limited with the working distance because of how far back you have to stand with an 85mm versus something like a 50mm. Let's jump into to where I think you should totally skip. That's a 24mm, and I shared this 4 years ago. My opinion has not changed. A 24mm is something very fun to have in your kit, but I rarely reach for this in photo shoots. If I do, it's for one very specific shot. That being said, this is not a portrait lens. It's not going to be flattering at all on the face because it is ultra wide. I do not regret this purchase. And at that time in my business 4 years ago, I was really into wide shots. I primarily used a 35mm for portrait photography. There is a way you can make that work. We'll talk about a 35 next, but I do not think at all that this is necessary. This is a Sigma Art, and I do love Sigma Art lenses. However, the next one that I'm gonna share with you has broken on me. My Sigma 35mm Art has been broken for about a year or so now. It no longer focuses, and there's a couple loose parts. I did have a good run with it. I believe it lasted like 4 years. I got it in 2016. I bought it new. The 35mm can be a great option if you are wanting a lens to travel with. You have your DSLR, you have one purse, you're not looking to bring your entire camera bag out for a day when you're on a trip. You want something that's gonna be able to work to take photos of your family on the beach real quick, and you don't wanna have to move around a ton. You don't have to scoot super far back. The 35R is a great option because of its versatility in that way, but it's not going to create the most flattering portrait photography compared to something like an 85 or a 50. However, it still can be done 100%. I used it for years and was able to create really beautiful photos with it, but there's a certain way that you have to angle the lens to make it flattering. Otherwise, it can make your subject look very squat or short. It can warp the face. Oh my gosh, no, you guys, I just remembered when I purchased the 85 from KEH, I also got a Canon 35. I totally forgot about this. I got the 35, the original one from Canon, because it was shorter and it was cheaper, and the newer one from Canon is much longer. And I actually ended up returning it back to KEH because I wasn't impressed by the focusing of that original Canon lens. And I used it in a couple of photo shoots, a maternity shoot, and then a video tutorial here on YouTube. I returned it and I didn't miss it, and I haven't felt the need to repurchase the newer version. Okay, let's talk about the last lens and the oldest one in my camera bag, 10 years old. This is a zoom lens, and it's the 24 to 105mm f4.0, and it's the original from Canon. There is now a newer one out, and I talk about this zoom lens all the time on YouTube because it is a great budget-friendly option if you need to have a zoom lens for wedding ceremony or event photography, but you're not reaching for it for portraits. This works great on its own or with a flash, and I think when it comes to zoom, you can definitely save before you splurge. And because of that aperture, the 4.0, I have not used this for portraits. I like to shoot super wide and open at 1.2, 1.4, and this just does not cut it for me. This is such an awesome option if you are looking for a very affordable budget zoom lens. I love shooting with prime lenses. That means it just has one number in it. It's a fixed focal length, 50mm, 35, 85. Those are all prime lenses versus something like a zoom. Now, I know though that there are a lot of photographers out there who love to primarily just shoot with a zoom lens, and that lens is usually the 24 to 70 2.8, and that is their holy grail lens that stays on their camera for the entirety of a session. I'm actually looking into purchasing a 24 to 70 as my next lens to replace the 24 and the 35 in my camera bag because it can act as like a 2-in-1 for the shots that I would get with a 24 and with a 35. However, I am many years along in my photography business, and so I do not think that this is something that you need to buy ASAP. However, you might be more of a zoom girly than a prime lens girly like myself, so I would recommend for you to first borrow one and see how you like shooting with it. Do you need a zoom lens? The answer is yes. If you are doing wedding photography or event photography, you should have a zoom lens in your collection. collection and you should prioritize it before buying more of a fun lens, because the shots that you are going to be using a zoom lens for would be the ceremony. You don't know what kind of space you're going to be in, how tight it's going to be, but it does not mean that you need to spend $1,000+ on it. So I would really recommend to get yourself a budget-friendly option like the 24-105 and then upgrade. If you're a photographer who's looking to join a kind, encouraging, and inclusive photography community, check out my free Facebook group called Build and Bloom. This is the best place to ask questions about your specific business, whether you need more insight on what lens to add to your collection, or you would like an extra set of eyes on an email you're about to send out to a client in a difficult situation. Build and Bloom is my best free resource. I believe in you and I believe in your business. Be sure to hit subscribe so you're the first to know when new free videos for your photography business come out, and I will see you in my next video. Click right here to watch and to learn. I'll see you there.